Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Modern Moms Roadmap to Balance podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Nettleton, and today's episode, we dive into a topic that I bet many of us can relate to, which is rediscovering yourself. I mean, think about it. When we become moms, it is so easy for us to lose ourselves in that role as mom, and it's really hard to think about what it was that we used to like and do, especially when you have multiple children. I'm not saying that this doesn't happen when you have one child, but it's really easy to do this when you have multiple children and you feel like time is just not on your side anymore. And so, even thinking about your role outside of being a partner or what you do in work can feel really difficult to outline. Like, remembering who you were outside of motherhood is a big problem. And in this episode, we're diving right into that. And I'm joined with Trisha Whitworth, and she's a boudoir photographer and founder of Aphrodite's Escapes, which is a series of women's empowerment retreats. And in our episode, Trisha opens up about her own personal journey of rediscovering her identity after motherhood. And she shares how embracing self care and self expression helped to reignite her confidence again. So, some of the things that we'll dive into are the transformative power of boudoir photography and why it's more than just photos, the importance of investing in yourself to become the best version of you for not just you, but for your family too. I know a lot of us moms like have a really hard time investing in ourselves if it's not somehow helping our family as well. So if we can start making some mindset adjustments in investing in myself is a really great opportunity to also help my family is going to be a better start than just trying to go with that mindset of like, well, this isn't selfish. Self-care isn't selfish. I mean, we've heard that so many times, but it is not always helpful to just say self-care isn't selfish. Like, no, it's not selfish, but it's really hard to start doing something about our self-care if we struggle with doing stuff for ourselves. So, doing this for ourselves is actually putting our family first too, can be a helpful first step. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how stepping away from your daily life, whether through a retreat or intentional moments, can help you reconnect with your inner strengths. So, whether you're looking for inspiration to prioritize yourself or curious about how Trisha's retreats are helping women feel more empowered, this episode is full of actionable insights and relatable moments. So, let's get started. Hey everyone. Today, our special guest is Trisha Whitworth. She is a boudoir photographer and she also hosts retreats called Aphrodite's Escape, which are women's empowerment retreats designed to help women recharge, reconnect, and rediscover their confidence. These 3-day, 2-night retreats take place in beautiful Airbnbs across the globe with locations including San Antonio, Dallas, Austin, New Orleans, Tulum, Miami, Nashville, and more. Each retreat is fully inclusive with all meals provided and feature a special highlight on the second day, professional hair and makeup followed by a themed boudoir photo shoot. This experience is all about celebrating your inner strength, beauty, and power. While all women are welcome, Aphrodite's escapes are especially transformative for moms who are feeling burnt out, always putting themselves last, and who haven't had the chance to embrace their sexy, powerful, fun side in a long time. Trisha has been there herself, and she knows how vital it is to fill your own cup. These retreats help women return to their jobs, spouses, and children as the best version of themselves, recharged, reignited, and ready to thrive. Welcome, Trisha.
Thank you. That was so nice to hear. Like, even hearing someone else say it just kind of gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, I love it when someone reads my bio as like the introduction to me. It's like, oh yeah, like I've done all of these things. I know what I'm doing.
Aw, yeah.
Yeah. So with the question I ask everybody, what is your version of a balanced life?
I have been thinking about this a lot, and I feel like there's not one answer. There's so many ways to have a balanced life. To me, I think the number one thing, especially for mothers and wives and hardworking women who wear all these different hats, is trying to pour back into themselves so that they maintain that identity that is so familiar to them, like that true sense of self. A lot of times we start to become who we think we need to be, what's best for the children and what's best for your spouse. And that is true. We do evolve into these other people. But if we completely change who we are, we will wake up one day and have no clue what our hobbies are. I've asked so many women, what do you like to do? They don't know. Like, you don't know what you like to do? That's horrible. Like, you don't know your fashion. You don't know what kind of clothes you wear. You don't know who your friends are. And if we maintain that deep sense of self at the end of the day, that truth to ourselves, and we pour into ourselves, and, it sounds silly. I don't like to get my nails done, but I know some people do. But you don't go because you don't have childcare, you don't want to spend the funds, or what's something that's less, like go to a movie or go to the gym even, because you don't want to leave the kids or that time away and you have too much to do. If you don't do the things that you love, everything else around you will suffer. No matter how hard you try to become this version that the kids need or your spouse needs, they will suffer if you don't be who you are and stand on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm hearing is balance for you is prioritizing what it is that you love to do and being able to continue to explore those things so you don't forget about who you are. So how did that transfer into boudoir photography and hosting these retreats? Like, it sounds like you experienced maybe some loss of yourself.
Yeah. So I did. I love telling this story. I was cooking dinner. This was after my firstborn. She's 9 now. And I was cooking my husband dinner, and I was making mashed potatoes, and I didn't put pepper. I love peppery potatoes for some reason, but I was like, no, he doesn't like pepper. And it was just like this switch in my head. I was like, you can't even have peppered potatoes? Like, pepper your potatoes, it was like, I don't even season my own food the way I want, because God forbid, and it was just kind of like, dang, man, you're really not doing anything for you at the moment. So there was this photographer that I really admired, and she was hosting retreats, and it was when I first started shooting. So I thought it was really important for me to do something kind of to help myself grow. And I felt so guilty. And I know this is going to sound really dumb, but I did have to ask my husband if I could do it, because I had to, he was paying for it. I mean, at the end of the day, I was working from home, just starting out on this. So I was asking him if he could pay for it. And it was a lot of money to me. And I felt just awful doing it. And thankfully, he said yes. And I'm not even going to lie, I didn't learn a lot from the retreat. But what I did gain from it was like, oh my God, like, I felt amazing when I got home. I had done something so big for me, something expensive, and 3 days away from my kids. And I didn't stay the night because I chickened out. I will say that. But
I go back and forth, like you commuted back and forth.
I did from San Antonio to Austin, and we would shoot sunrise sessions. So I was leaving the house just because I was breastfeeding at the time, and I was just like, she needs my milk. I just couldn't stay away from her, that like yearn. But yeah, I felt amazing. I gained so much confidence in myself and my ability, and I learned the house survived without me there for those couple of days. And it just kind of really lit a fire under me, and me investing in myself really ignited this conversation inside that was like, how many other women are experiencing this and need to be reminded, like, no, this is important too. You investing in yourself, whatever that looks like, is so, so important. And then you come back and you see everyone was fine. And now I'm in a better headspace. I had some clarity. I'm feeling good. And I'm like, yes, baby, let's go. What are we doing? I'm an even better mom. So that's how the escape started, is me kind of having these moments in life where I was like, what are we doing here? I cannot pepper my potatoes. Obviously, there's more little things that come up, but that paired with me having the experience of what it feels like when I do something, even something big, because to a lot of women and to myself, that was big to do a 3-day mentorship. And it felt amazing. And I started asking, how can I do this? How can I bring this to other women? That was in 2018. My first one was in 2019. And I haven't stopped since then.
So the first one that you hosted was in 2019.
It was, yeah.
Okay. No, but I love that you're bringing this up too, because you're right. There are so many women who have this mom guilt that is very special to moms.
Yeah.
There is guilt for women, but mom guilt, it's its own special category
Right.
that kind of puts women into this, like, I can't do anything else. I need to focus on my children or my spouse. And it's just all of these teachings that kind of push us in that direction and thinking once we become a mother, we can't do anything for ourselves. And so I love that you brought this up, because this wasn't like a business venture. In the beginning, you were doing this for yourself. You were investing in yourself to take time for yourself, which a lot of moms won't do because of this mom guilt.
Right.
How do you get past the mom guilt?
I still have it. I think I've done like 13 escapes now. My sister, who does my hair and makeup, she is such an integral part to my escapes. She can create the most amazing looks no matter what theme I throw her way. She's on Instagram, Hair by Slam. She literally has to coach me every time, because I'm like, Sarah, this is so far. Like, why do I do this? And she's like, Trisha, every time you know that it's perfectly fine. They're fine. And there are some ladies, up until the day they're about to get on the airplane, they're messaging me saying, so what happens if I back out? Because I can't. Like, it's too much. And I literally have to coach them. That's probably the number one fear, is the guilt of leaving their children. Some women have 10-year-olds who they have never, ever spent a night away from. So imagine in 10 years, you have never done one sleep without your child. Yes, it's a beautiful thing, but also don't feel like that's what you have to do to be a good mother. There are so many other versions. I feel like people unintentionally say things like, oh, you're going to Nashville. Who's watching the girls? I'm like, my husband. No one would ask him that question if he was somewhere else. No one would make him feel like, and I don't think they mean it. It's just such a huge part of motherhood and conversations. Like, you need to be there for these children, and that's it. So I definitely still battle it, but what keeps me coming back is how I feel after. Because I literally will be like, okay, just one escape next year. And then I leave an escape and I'm on this high and I'm like, okay, let me plan a little sneaky escape. Like, I just love go on a baby one, because it does feel so good. And I've even actually started forcing my husband to do guys trips because of how good it feels.
Yeah.
And I'll even plan it for him. And, you know, it's so important. It really is.
Yeah, no, it is. It's important for both parents, but it's especially important for moms, I think, because we're not already given that freedom to do this. And no one is asking us the questions. For some reason, this is already ingrained in men. Like, they're going to continue doing what they're doing even after they become parents. Whereas for moms, that's not necessarily the case. We're the ones who have to make the arrangements, fix our schedule for some reason. And yes, it started because at some point women were not working, but now that we are, and some of us are even breadwinners of the household, things do need to change.
Right. And you shouldn't feel bad for wanting more. I think that we're taught to just be thankful, and you can be thankful and want more at the same time, especially wanting more for yourself. Like, we're not done living. We have so much more left to give, and our kids get to watch us regardless of where we're thriving. If you are a homemaker and you are thriving in that setting, then yes, your kids get to see you carry the weight of that. But also, if you want to take on a podcast and touch other women's lives in this really amazing way, they're going to see you doing that as well. So regardless of what it is, we don't have to make it negative. You're showing them that it's okay to continue, especially our daughters. I have 3 girls. And I mean, my views on a lot of things are maybe different, maybe not, than a lot of other parents of daughters. But seeing the light bulbs and seeing them just get it, and the conversations they have already, I'm not changing it because I love it.
And for us too, as women, like, especially if you don't go somewhere for work, I know we kind of like shifted into like work, but talk about what you do. My kids, so my oldest is 9, my middle is 4, and then my youngest is 2. If I didn't talk about what I did and that I have a job and I run a business, not just I have a job, but I run a business, they wouldn't know because they see me at home. I drop them off at school and they know I come home. So in their mind, as children, they think like, oh, mom doesn't work.
Right.
And so I often will talk about like, no, mom is, a CEO of her company. Like she runs her business. She's the owner of her business. This is what I do. I will sometimes be working on my laptop. They ask like what I'm doing and I tell them I'm doing some stuff for work, doing some marketing things for work. That way they know, because it's so easy for us to just kind of like silently do our thing. But then our kids never know what's going on, or they make assumptions at other people, because if they see other people's moms that don't work, and there's nothing wrong with that. If they see other moms and they are running the household, they're going to assume that's what you're doing too. So it's also important to talk about what you're doing, because they don't know. They're going to make up their own stories about what their mom is doing.
Yeah. And oftentimes, especially in positions like us, like I obviously edit a ton and it's always at home. We are doing both. We're doing all of it. And that's one of those things where the pressures to do it all, because it's like, well, you're home. Well, yes, but I am also working and I'm sitting on thousands of pictures, literally me now, thousands of pictures, the stress that is building up inside of me. Like, yes, it's easy to say, God, I have so much to do, but like, seriously, you have no idea how much I have to do. And it's like, well, when I get a second, do I edit? Do I shower? Do I eat? Do I clean up? And it's just like, can we just have a little breath, a little breathing room? And that's what I really, really try to provide at my escapes. This moment of like, like I'm not mom right now, which I love being. It's why I was put on this earth. But I'm Trisha. Call me Trisha. If you want to come to one of my escapes and read by the pool the whole time and not talk to anyone, that is your prerogative, because this is your time. If you want to come to my escape and twerk on a table because you haven't gotten to do that since college and that was your favorite, that's fine too. Just don't break the table. Whatever it is that you need to do to be reminded of your worth, to have a freaking moment, is what you can do at these escapes. Then fast forward to day 2, when you get that reignited flame for yourself inside. Like, there are women who do my boudoirs and they cry. I've had this multiple times and they're like, I haven't felt like this in so long. And they're like, yes, my husband says you're beautiful and all this stuff, but this like deep, fiery, innate vixen is nowhere to be found. And you're just kind of reminded how important it is to celebrate all sides of you, like all versions of you. You don't have to silence it and sit down just because you're a mom or just because you're a wife. Like, continue to allow yourself to be a woman.
Embrace that sexy feminine side that we all have. And it's so helpful to tap into that every once in a while, to see yourself outside of mom, wife, owner, like just to see your raw beauty.
Exactly.
So did you start shooting boudoir after your experience, or what led you to boudoir itself?
So I'd kind of gotten my toes wet with boudoir. And once I did the mentorship and I wanted to create something for mothers, for women.
Sorry, I'm going to pause you really quick.
That's okay.
Because I just realized we're talking about boudoir, but we never really defined what boudoir is. So can you?
Okay, yeah.
I know what boudoir is, but some of our listeners might not know what boudoir photography is. Maybe if you're listening, you already Googled it, but can you chat about the definition of like what boudoir is?
Yes. Okay, so boudoir in French is a bedroom. So they are bedroom photos, and that can be interpreted in many different ways. They are basically, in a nutshell, sexy photos. You can have your own definition of sexy. Some women would want to wear a sweater off the shoulder in a more sensual position, and that's their boudoir experience. While some people can go fully nude and fully embrace whatever they want to for their experience, and that's fine as well. It's kind of like how you want to be captured and portray that experience. Everyone that comes in is super, super nervous. But, like some people have like more extroverted personalities.
Yeah.
Some ladies come in and they're very timid and they don't talk a lot. They're almost like very reserved, and they go out there and blow my freaking mind. And, so it's not always just like who you are, stay true to you. Yes. But like also sometimes it's just the complete opposite. You want to just unleash all this pent up sexiness you've got going on.
Yeah.
But it's extremely empowering, and I feel like this topic can be controversial. I will die on this rock, or whatever the phrase is.
Die in the hill.
Yes. They are so empowering because I've seen it myself while shooting. Women are apologizing, covering themselves like, oh, I have stretch marks, or my boobs are saggy now because I breastfed, or I've gained 50 pounds. And they're literally apologizing in front of me. And there's this moment during the shoot where they change. They are overcome with confidence. It's like a trigger goes off. And I'm like, oh, shoot, there she is. It's amazing, honestly. And I wish everyone could experience it. Like, it's so empowering to see women transform. And that's exactly what they do. And that's not an exaggeration to like sell boudoir photo shoots. It's incredible. I have cried with women in these shoots, and I go in there to, yes, have fun, do my job, but like I am so molded by these women and their stories and their experience, and I'm honored that they are so vulnerable with me and trust me. So yeah, long story short, boudoirs are these really empowering, sexy photos.
No, and I love that you gave a broad definition, because it's not just like the lingerie or nude photos. They're like whatever you feel sexy in, and being able to, like, I love that when you said like off the shoulder sweater, because some people are more timid, or they're more modest, or their religious beliefs don't want them to be wearing certain things, but being able to still feel sexy in what is aligned for you.
Right. Absolutely. I always say your comfort level is my comfort level. Whatever you want to get out of this session, we're going to do that.
What was maybe like the most powerful shoot that you've done?
Oh God, I'm going to cry because I'm tired, and I cry when I'm tired. This woman had asked me to cover up her bruises because she had recently been in a domestic violence situation. And, she's in the lingerie, comes out, and it's just, you just can see them, the different places. You can see the story of what she's experienced. And I would show her the back of camera pictures, which I do to kind of let ladies know, look how much you're killing it without even editing, And she would go, well, I can't even really see it. Like, she couldn't even look at herself. And it was probably one of the most difficult boudoirs I've ever shot, because I'm used to ladies giving me back that same energy and validation almost that I'm doing a good job. It's kind of like a team effort. We're bouncing off each other, and I was getting nothing. And I was like, shoot, like this is okay. Come on, you got this. Like, I was pulling out everything I could. I was trying so hard to keep my energy really, really high, even though hers was non-existent. And when she left, my sister and I were kind of like, that was really tough. She can hear me shooting and getting the ladies hype and my energy. So her being able to hear me kind of like fluster a bit, which I never do, was even hard for her, who wasn't even in the same room. So towards the end, she was actually going straight from my shoot to meet with her priest and her husband to have counseling. And when she was leaving, she said, you don't know how much I needed this to get me through what I'm about to go through. And she was in her hair in full glam, So I didn't even know what I was doing was helping her.
Yeah.
And she messaged me after. She was like, I couldn't have done what I did after had I not just did that boudoir with y'all. And you'll never understand what that meant to me and how thankful I am. And that will just forever stick with me, because you can't tell me this isn't powerful, because I've seen it be powerful,
Yeah. Wow. Like, it gave her the power to like be in her own power.
Right. She had been so beaten down, literally, physically and emotionally. And we gave her that reminder, no, you are strong, you are beautiful, you are worthy, that she needed to head into probably something, one of the hardest things we could never imagine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm going to segue into talking about moms because I don't want to compare the two because it's not the same at all. But as mothers, we really lose track of who we are because sometimes, yes, it is because we're wanting to do like what's fast, what's easy. And so we end up wearing sweats all the time or wearing the workout clothes because that's what's comfortable, fast, and easy, right? Or we wear our hair in a cap like I am today.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, we forget what it is that we like to dress up in. We forget that we do have this sensual, sexy side to us as women. And I can imagine, because I've never done one before, but I can imagine how going through a boudoir photo shoot can reignite that spark that we have for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I started buying lingerie because of my boudoirs. Like when I would ask ladies, what size swimsuit are you instead of lingerie? Because most women say, I don't know what size lingerie I wear. Like I don't wear lingerie. But then I started hearing a bunch of women who have tons of lingerie, like collections, and their husbands buy it for them. And I'm like, that's interesting. So I thought, practice what you preach, right? So I wouldn't wear lingerie in the bedroom personally because I would feel like that's a little extra. But I thought, let me try this. Let me just see. It's something else. When you see yourself in some lingerie, like you really do become her. It really feels good. You look good. I just feel like we are taught we're not worthy, or like, why would you even need to do all that? That's a little bit extra. But is it though? And like, can we just be extra? Because why not? You know, we have one life to live.
Oh, absolutely. I'm all for that. And buy it for you. Don't buy it for anyone else or because the husband's going to see and he's going to like it or your partner. Do it for yourself and go try on some stuff that maybe you're not used to trying. Their lingerie now is so much better quality than it used to be. Because I like remember buying lingerie and it be like itchy and uncomfortable. And so like there's definitely better brands out there. Figure out what works for you and your body type, because there's going to be some stuff where like, oh, I don't really like the way this looks on me. So like right now I'm thinking of a thong. Like sometimes you might have to pull it up a little bit. And I know you can't see me because I'm like using my hands, but like pull up to like different areas.
Exactly. And it can literally be like the same size, but on two different women, it'll look completely different.
Oh yeah.
So you do have to give it a shot. And remember, a lot of times ladies will put it on and they're standing there like in the mirror, like, and I'm like, no, we're not going to be standing like that in the pictures. Remember, we're about to just turn it on.
Yeah.
So you do have to give it a fair shot for sure. And it can be super intimidating because obviously we compare ourselves and like society tells us what we're supposed to look like and how old we're supposed to be and where we're supposed to be in life in order to, I guess, be proud of ourselves. I say F all of that. You be proud of yourself right freaking now, even if you're not even where you want to be. Like we all have our own personal standards for ourselves, but yeah, you're worthy of it. You really are, especially if you're a mother. You are so worthy of being celebrated during all phases of your life.
You really are. And also, if you're worried about how you look, I would definitely recommend first buying from the lingerie place where the models in the photos that they're advertising are of different sizes. So like one of the places that I like to shop at, I think it's called Lounge Underwear, I think. I love them because they have models of all sizes that they show in their advertisements, in their website. So I really like that place. And also, when you're trying this on for the first time, definitely try it on like when you've kind of done your hair, and you're going to feel so much better. Like if I try something on and my hair's in a cap and I don't have makeup on, I will not like how I look sometimes, or I'll like judge the outfit. But if I've like blow dried my hair and like put my makeup on, it's like a totally different outfit.
100%.
Yeah, it's like that confidence boost, because if you're already like, oh, I don't know, I don't feel great right now, you're going to go in with that energy trying it on.
Yeah. And that's why my sister who does hair makeup, I'm telling you, she's so important. First of all, she's so funny. So it's literally like getting your hair and makeup done with the comedian because you're just like cracking up the whole time. But she's so good at like not only helping the ladies to kind of ease the nerves, but then she's like, okay, are you ready? And they turn around and they're like, oh my God, like jaws hit the floor. And they can't even believe, like, sometimes when I send their galleries, they will say, I can't believe that's me. And I'm like, yeah, that's you. That's who you've been sleeping on this whole time. That's who you've been so hard on. This girl right here who's now blowing your mind.
Mm. Even just thinking about seeing photos of yourself, and then even like you said, this is who you've been like doubting. This is the person that you've been really hard on. So I can imagine having these photos and then being able to look back on like, this is who is inside me. I can embody her. I can embody this version of myself when I walk.
And it sounds silly, but like in everyday life, in every situation, in your challenges in marriage, because you know, no marriage is perfect. When you're wondering if you're enough, freaking you just saw that you're more than enough. Like when you walk into a school function for your kids, and I'm considered an older mom, I'm 39 years old, and you know, it can cross your mind like, God, I wonder how some of the moms are so young and their skin's perfect, and you're just like, dang, like it does give you that, no, why would you even need to compare yourself? Like, why are you worried about anything? You are amazing. You know, the confidence that you carry with you gets you through your mundane day-to-day activities you don't even realize would help you with a bit of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Trisha, if someone is listening right now and they're like, oh, I really want to work with Trisha, I really want to do like either a boudoir photo shoot, or I want to like look into her escapes, what is the best way to like get into contact with you? Can you give a little bit about like where you are, how they can set up with you?
Yes, so I am located in Converse, which is the San Antonio area. I have all my social medias, Instagram at s.r._boudoir, and Facebook. I do have a public Facebook for SR Boudoir by Stella Rose Photography, but it's best to join the group, which is linked to that page. Right now, for next year, I have Aphrodite's Escape, Apocalypse, Rise of the Women, which is kind of like Mad Max theme and will be interlingua. That's completely sold out, but I do often just open a sneaky little local escape, which is called Aphrodite's Escape Free Spirit. It's more of the like bohemian, artsy, hippie vibes. The house is gorgeous. Like it's white and natural and just, I'm so excited to shoot there. We're going to have group Reiki and poolside yoga and halo making with flowers. So I have 2 spots for that left, and it's actually discounted right now only because I believe that local escapes are a great way for ladies to get their toes wet and kind of gain the confidence to push themselves to travel somewhere that they, you know, wouldn't normally travel and meet a bunch of amazing women and just kind of be reminded the importance of sisterhood, because we forget that as we get older. But I know we were speaking earlier, this is kind of like off topic, about at first maybe it started out as something that wasn't necessarily like big business moves. It still is not. I feel like a lot of other photographers would probably like roll their eyes so hard at me for doing these, especially at the prices that I do them for, because I always say I'm an awesome photographer, I'm a horrible businesswoman, but I just, it's what feels good in my heart, and I'm going to stick to that, and I don't really care what anyone else thinks about it. So yeah, you can reach out to me through any of my social medias that I mentioned, or my personal ones. I honestly don't care. But
okay. So
sure.
Where do you post the most updated retreats? Is that like in your Instagram?
It's actually in my group, my private group on Facebook. I do have to keep it pretty secure and locked down so that women feel safe in there. But you can find me through my Facebook page or my Instagram, and I'm happy to direct you to my group.
Okay, perfect. And so we'll link your Instagram. So if people want to be a part of the group, they can go ahead and reach out to you to get in the group.
Awesome.
Yeah. So before we like close, talk a little bit about like little bit more about the retreat, because I feel like that really wasn't touched on, how these retreats also are a great way to bring women together who are kind of missing that connection piece.
Yeah, so it's a 3-day, 2-night retreat called Aphrodite's Escape, and each one is themed. So there's literally some ladies who have attended like 9 because they get completely different experiences. We do lots of different locations. I'm really excited for Terlingua. I've never been, and I'm excited to feel kind of like spooky and eerie and, like just
I've
all
never
this.
been to Terlingua, but I feel like that's like the perfect place to do that.
Yeah. The host of the Airbnb we're staying in said something that I cannot get out of my head, and it's like the desert strips away everything that you know and allows you to kind of just hold a mirror to yourself, because it's literally just you and the sky and the mountains. And I'm just like, that's exactly what we need, like these moments. And yeah, so when you get there, you don't always know someone who's there. Some ladies go and they've never met anyone before. They don't even know me. And some ladies go with a group of friends. But either way, it's just really, really cool to see women come together during all different phases of their lives, all different parts of the country, and have so much in common. And they would never probably like friend or like connect with these other ladies outside of this escape, but it allows them to see women at our core, and that we are so similar. We're all going through the same things together. And so why not come together and go through it together,
Yeah.
And there's something so amazing about shooting a boudoir with other women around. Like, it's like the cure you never knew you needed, because a lot of times you think you're going to be judged by women. I think this is a big fear, like, but they're going to be watching. Like, they're not really watching, they're going about their day-to-day or their escape life, but they will probably see you. Yeah. And instead of a world where you strip down to lingerie and you're like being picked apart, you blow other women's minds. They're literally like, oh my God, yes. It's like, like you just, I think that's something that people don't realize. They need to experience shooting like that in front of women that they just met. It's really freaking cool and unique, and it bonds you in a really cool, unique way that's special to these escapes. And the first few times I did it, I actually ended up paying for a lot of it, like not making 0.00. And I would leave exhausted because it's so much work. And I would say, I'm never doing this again. This was way too much work. But then I see the ladies keep in touch. And then I see them go on trips together. And I see them hang out. And then they message me, when's the next one? And I'm like, God, it's doing something. Like, this is worth it. This is worth continuing. And so yeah, here we are all these years later, and I've been to some really cool places. We went to Tulum, which was just life-changing. Nashville, we just got back from, and it was so much freaking fun. Like, it really is just something that somehow, by the grace of God, I've stumbled upon, that is somehow my job. And I feel really lucky, and I put my heart and soul into every single one of them. And I feel like the ladies can feel that.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Trisha, for giving us your time and going into some of this with us.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Kayla. Bye.